In a lively corner of Ibadan, where markets buzzed and dusty roads carried stories, lived twin sisters who looked identical but carried completely different hearts. Olamiposi was known for her kindness. She spoke gently, helped freely, and gave without expecting anything in return. People trusted her, loved her, and always said she carried peace wherever she went. Kemi, her twin, had a different fire inside her. She wasn't cruel, but she was restless. She hated struggle. Every time she saw people enjoying a better life, something inside her tightened. She wanted more: money, comfort, attention. A life far away from the one she knew. Every day, as they walked through the market, people greeted Olamiposi warmly. "God bless you," they would say. Kemi would smile too, but inside, she was asking a different question: why not me? Everything changed the day a letter arrived. It was from a Nigerian doctor living abroad. Successful, wealthy, ready to settle down, but the letter wasn't for Kemi. Backhand index pointing right, it was for Olamiposi. The house filled with excitement. Plans began immediately. Calls, preparations, travel discussions. It felt like destiny had finally chosen someone. That night, Kemi held the letter alone. She read every word slowly. Her hands didn't shake, her heart didn't break. It hardened. This life, she whispered to herself, that should have been mine. For the first time, Kemi didn't just feel envy, she made a decision, and in that moment, without anyone knowing, the story of two identical faces began to separate completely. The plan was simple, but dangerous, because when something is too easy, it usually hides consequences. The wedding process moved fast. Documents were arranged. Phone calls were exchanged. Everything felt rushed, as if time itself was pushing events forward. But one thing made Kemi bold: they were twins, same face, same voice, same identity. If no one looked too closely, and no one did, slowly, carefully, Kemi stepped into her sister's place. She handled the documents. She answered the calls. She wore the confidence of someone stepping into a better life. Olamiposi noticed the change. "Kemi, this doesn't feel right," she said one evening. Kemi smiled softly, but something about it felt unfamiliar. "Relax," she replied. "Everything is under control." But deep down, she already knew the truth. This wasn't her destiny. On the day of departure, the atmosphere was filled with mixed emotions. Olamiposi stood quietly, unsure, while Kemi carried herself with boldness. At the airport, Kemi didn't look back, not once. As the plane lifted into the sky, she closed her eyes and smiled. Goodbye, struggle. For the first time, she felt like she had won, but something strange followed her. The journey didn't feel right, the air felt colder, the silence felt heavier, and deep inside her chest, fear quietly began to grow. Still, she ignored it, because in her mind, nothing was more important than the life she believed she had finally stolen. When the plane landed, Kemi felt a rush of excitement. This was it, her new life, her escape. But the moment the doors opened, cold air hit her like a warning. Not normal cold, sharp, unforgiving, almost hostile. She stepped out slowly, looking around. Everything felt wrong. The people didn't look familiar. The language around her sounded strange. The environment didn't match anything she had imagined. Confusion quickly turned into panic. She approached an airport officer. "Excuse me, where are we?" The officer looked at her calmly and replied, "Finland." Her heart dropped instantly. "No, that's not possible," she said. "I wasn't supposed to be here." But her documents told a different story. Everything matched, everything confirmed it, except her expectation. Days passed, then weeks. The man she was supposed to meet never showed up. Her calls stopped going through. Her connections vanished. She was alone, completely alone. The soft life she dreamed about became something else entirely. Cold nights, empty stomach, loneliness that echoed louder than silence. For the first time in her life, Kemi faced something she couldn't run from: the consequences of her choice. She cried, not because she lost comfort, but because she finally understood something deeper. What she took was never meant for her. Back in Ibadan, life didn't stop. It never does. People moved on. Markets remained busy. The sun still rose every morning, and in the middle of it all, Olamiposi stayed the same. She didn't complain. She didn't chase what was taken from her. She didn't try to fight fate. She simply lived, kind, patient, quietly strong. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and slowly, life began to respond to her in ways she didn't expect. One afternoon, As she sat outside her home, a familiar voice called her name. She looked up and froze. It was him, the doctor, standing right in front of her, real, calm, certain. "I've been trying to reach you," he said gently. There was confusion. But I knew something didn't feel right. He stepped closer, studying her, not just her face, but something deeper, her presence, her peace, her truth, and in that moment, something aligned. "Now I understand," he said softly. "You're the one I was meant to find." Olumiposi didn't speak immediately. She just looked at him, and for the first time, she felt it, not excitement, not pressure, but peace, no lies, no pretending, no stealing, just something real. And slowly, destiny began to return what was always hers. Months later, someone returned, but not the same, Kemi. She stepped back into Ibadan quietly, no confidence, no pride, no soft life. The girl who once left with boldness came back broken. She looked thinner. Her eyes told a story she didn't need to explain, a story of cold nights, empty days, and silence that never ended. When she finally stood in front of Olumiposi, she couldn't even look up at first. "I'm sorry," she whispered. No excuses, no lies, just truth. Olumiposi stood still, watching her, not with anger, not with hate, but with understanding. For a moment, silence filled the space between them. Then slowly, she stepped forward and hugged her. Kemi broke down instantly, tears falling freely, because that was the moment she understood something deeper than anything she had ever chased. Some hearts don't win by revenge, they win by forgiveness. Across the street, the doctor watched quietly, and he smiled, because now, everything was exactly where it was supposed to be. Kemi pulled back, wiping her tears. For the first time in her life, she wasn't chasing anything. She had finally learned, you can chase another person's destiny, but you can never live it.
What belongs to you will always find you, and what doesn't will only teach you the hard way. You were chasing a life that looked beautiful, but it wasn't built for you. And sometimes what looks like a blessing from far can become a burden when you force it. You didn't fail, Kimmy. You just learned the truth in a hard way. Life isn't about taking what belongs to someone else. It's about becoming who you're meant to be. And no matter how far you go, you can always come back and start again. Just be patient. Your own path will find you too.